Alright guys, as promised, here is my ciabatta bread recipe. I've tried many different ones because it is, in my opinion, a harder bread to make. It's definitely a longer process bread. So, ignore my pumpkins. I have so much I need to do today, and pumpkins are next on my list after getting this started. So, to start off your ciabatta bread, you have to make a sponge. So, last night, it is now Thursday morning, and Wednesday night, in the evening, I went ahead and mixed together a 1/4 teaspoon of yeast with 1.5 cups of flour and a cup of cool water. I mixed it all together real well, and then I put plastic wrap over it and let it sit on my counter all night long. And so this is what you want it to look like. I have horrible lighting this morning. You can see it's bubbly, it has risen, it's a sponge. So, you take that, and then to this, we are going to add a teaspoon of yeast, a teaspoon of sugar, and 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All that in there. A tablespoon of non-fat dry milk, a 1/4 cup of warm water, and 1.5 cups of more flour. And then with your paddle attachment, or you could use a bread machine if you had one of those, to knead it, it's going to be a very sticky dough. Do not add more flour to this thinking that it's not making a good dough. This is going to be very wet, sticky dough. So all we're going to do is let this do its thing for 7 minutes. Okay, so I let it go for 7 minutes, and let me show you what it looks like. Also, no baby, don't do that. Also, I forgot to say one ingredient. You want to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the mixture before you start mixing it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It is wet and sticky. So I like to make sure my hand is greased, and you want a greased bowl, or you could use a spatula, but I already had greasy hands from doing the bowl, so I'm just going to do it this way. But you don't have to worry about it cleaning the sides like a normal bread. That's not what you're doing with this. But you can see it's smooth, it's shiny, and that's how you know that it's done. Now, I'm going to put this in a draft-free place, so it's going in my stove. I'm going to cover it and let it rise for 2 hours until it doubles in size. Alright, so I let the bread rise for the 2 hours. Halfway through, I took it out of the oven because that's just where I had mine rising, because it's draft free. But I took it out, I punched it down, and then put it back in there until it rose a second time to double. So that was 2 hours, and now here is the dough. So the next step, and this is the important step, we are not kneading anything. Alright, so you make sure you have a well-oiled surface, and then get your hands oiled too, because this dough is still going to be super sticky. You want to be very easy with it because you do not want to deflate it. It may deflate a little, but you want very minimal deflation. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to use one of these to cut it right in half. And I can't find my cookie sheet, so I'm going to be using this cast iron and then another cast iron, and just have them both in the oven. But very gently, We're going to separate them and then form them into a log. But try very hard not to deflate anything. So there's one. That right there. And you can see I'm just kind of moving it. I'm not really doing much to it at all. Okay, now we're going to cover these with more saran wrap, or if you have a towel, use a towel, but you want it very oiled if you're using saran wrap. So a well-oiled saran wrap, and we're going to let it rise for another hour to hour and a half. And the last step is you want to make some dimples in your bread. And make them pretty deep. You don't want to wimp out on this. This is going to help give it the really holy appearance. Just be careful so that you don't deflate it all. So I will bring you back in an hour, hour and a half, and about 15 minutes before it's time, I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on to preheat at 425 degrees. Alright, so I wanted to show you real quick what they look like whenever they are ready to go in the oven. So you can see the dimples I made are almost gone, and they are nice and fluffy. Now if you had a spritzer, you could spritz it with water before you, as long as you don't touch it, baby, before you stuck them in the oven. But I don't have one, and I'm not worried about it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and I currently don't have one. So these are going to go in a 425 degree oven for about 18 to 20 minutes, or until they're nice and golden brown. No ma'am, not with that fork. And yeah, and I'll bring you back whenever we are slicing these open. Alright, so it is done. This is how you want it to sound. It is still pretty warm because I just can't wait. And look at all the holes. This is what you want ciabatta to be. It's nice and chewy and airy in the middle, and then it's crusty on the outside. So I'm going to put some butter on this. Maybe.
Are you watching Grim?
Yes. And I'm not going to lie, I've already had the end piece. So. Hey, look at that. Mmm. That is so good. I could just eat a whole loaf by myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It is kid approved. You know, the baby in my arms is eating that piece as we speak. And I will see you guys next time for another recipe or canning session. Thank you for watching.